My name is Brittany Gale, and this is the Heidi Roizen oral case study for Management 6334 Seminar on Organizational Behavior. I will be discussing the strengths that Roizen had that led to her success, as well as how the different material that we covered in this module connects to her life. Heidi Roizen has a lot of strengths that I think have benefited her and led to success in her career. She's a very outgoing personality, which allows her to go and make connections on her own, and not only for her, but for other people as well. When she makes these introductions and these connections, she doesn't just stop after the first time that she meets somebody, but she continues to build that relationship with them by contacting them multiple times and continuing to build that strong foundation with that person. She has mastered the art of combining her personal relationships and network along with her work relationships and network. And by doing this, she allows other people to come over to her house for dinners and just make them feel more comfortable. I believe this works for her because she mentioned in the case study that she's allowed to call somebody that she hasn't talked to in years and ask them for advice or for help like she did when she worked for Apple. I don't believe in mixing business with pleasure, so to say, but it works for her, so more power to her for sure. I believe that the biggest strength that Heidi Roizen had that leads to her success is the fact that she wants both parties to benefit from every relationship that they have together. Adam Grant describes a giver as somebody who is interested in helping the success and the well-being of other people. A taker, on the other hand, is someone who is only interested in their well-being and only interested in what they're doing, not trying to help other people as long as they get their work done. A happy medium between the two, an equal balance of givers and takers, is what's called a matcher. And a matcher believes in fairness, and they believe in an eye for an eye. One thing that Adam Grant mentioned is they believe in karma, and that's what comes around goes around. According to his research that he did, he said that the most productive people in the workplace are givers. Surprisingly enough, the least productive people in the workplace are also givers. What I believe this is from is when givers work so hard to making sure that other people get their work done, they fall short on what they have to do and their responsibilities. They get burnt out at this point, and they get so tired of making sure that other people get their work done, and they get tired of not getting their work done, that they completely turn a 180 and become a taker, not interested in helping anybody else. As long as they get their work done, they're satisfied. Instead of turning a complete 180, some people turn to the halfway point, which I mentioned is a matcher, and they try to get their work done first while also helping other people. And I believe this is the best possible way that people could go about the situation. Everyone at some point or another becomes a giver, a taker, and a matcher in life. It's just a matter of fact of which one's going to benefit you in the long run. After stating all of these definitions, I would categorize Heidi Roizen as a matcher and a giver. At the beginning of the case study, it talked about her background. I would have categorized her as a giver when it said how she was so supportive of her fiance and she pushed aside her own goals and aspirations to make sure she was there for him. Towards the end, talked about her life-changing decision, and this was, I think, the turning point which made her into a matcher. Her life-changing decision came when her fiance unexpectedly passed, and she made the decision that she wanted to never depend on the fate of another person ever again. This is, I believe, what truly started the success of networking for her career. For example, she worked for Apple, and it mentioned in there that her duty was to, quote, shore up relationships with 12,000 external software developers, making sure that they were supportive of Apple's platform. If she were dependent on those software developers and not being independent and taking the initiative, she would have just assumed that those software developers would have supported Apple's platform regardless. By being independent and taking that next step, and not being dependent on them, she made those contacts, she called them, and made sure that they were 100% still supportive of Apple's platform instead of assuming. And I believe that one thing that made this truly a definition of being a matcher instead of just her life-changing decision was the fact that she made sure both parties benefited. By calling these software developers, she made that contact with them once again and made sure that they understood what was going on and that they had what they wanted by also supporting Apple and making sure they had the software developers of 12,000 companies on their back. One thing that I can see making others realize how much of a matcher she is by decreasing the amount of dinners that she holds at her house, but instead moving it to a public place so it's not so personal for her and it doesn't seem like she's being walked all over. Heidi Roizen had so many strengths that led to her becoming a successful businesswoman in networking. She used those strengths to her advantage in order to create relationships with other people and portray herself as a matcher, someone who wants fair in every relationship in the workplace, as well as for both parties in the relationship to benefit from every situation. Thank you.